What negative aspects of being a male exist? There's more pressure to always be strong and in control. Loneliness is being mentioned a lot in here, and I agree. I have a decent amount of friends and I do keep myself busy. But as time goes on, people care less and less. Have lives. And for the most part it's just a slow start towards what I see as being very lonely. At the lowest points it's pretty anxiety-inducing and sad. Opening up and being vulnerable gets used against you unfairly at some point. I brought my niece to the park once and was asked by a woman how old my daughter was. I laughed and said, "Oh, she's almost 5, but she's not my daughter." She got a weird look on her face and then walked away. Police showed up 10 minutes later and started giving me the gears, assuming I had kidnapped her. Physical affection. Older men are pariahs. Yet we still need touch. The older you get, the less anyone will touch you. A hug, an arm around a shoulder. All gone. Even if you wouldn't hurt a fly, bad men have made others feel unsafe around you in certain contexts. Like, I'm a 6'3" dude. So if I'm walking down the street at night and there's a woman a short ways ahead, I know damn well she's both aware and slightly paranoid of my presence. You can't say some crazy shit like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm one of the good ones though," as that gives serial killer vibes. Small stuff like that really sucks, as there's not really a solution. Inherent distrust, or the automatic assumption that you're a bad person. You run into a ton of guys who think they're alpha males and everything is a competition. You can't just exist in a space with some men without it being a who's manlier competition. A woman enters the room and suddenly he's pointing out every flaw about you as a joke at every opportunity. It's best to just ignore the childishness, but if you have too many of them around you in your life or workplace, it can be fucking exhausting. First choice to be sent to a war, last choice for spot in a lifeboat of a sinking ship. I wonder if life would be a little better if the G-spot weren't up my ass. Any general kindness to anyone is taken as an attempt to have sex with them. If you are large, people are afraid of you. So if you're big, be kind, right? See my first point. It's a negative cycle. Until people have had a genuine conversation with me, they assume I'm either violent or a predator, based entirely off of the actions of shitty men. Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? Just general physical intimacy, not just for sex. It's nice to be hugged and touched too. Not in a sexual way. Men don't have license to do that generally, and that's just sad. I think a lot of angry men out there would benefit from a hug once in a while. Loneliness. People care less for you. You don't really get complimented unless you're super attractive. Greater expectations from women especially. Some people look at you strangely if it's just you out with the kids. Nobody loves you unconditionally. Also, your balls itch. Like, a lot. Did you know you can even crush them by sitting on them accidentally? Everyone expects you to man up and push through. Testicles are the real-life equivalent of a glowing weak spot on a video game boss. Having limited choice of clothing, shoes, accessories. Edit. Even if there were unlimited choice, will shoe and clothing designers make and sell items for bigger sizes more often? For example, some designer shoemakers end their women's shoe size at women's 10. Some of the men are very tall and have very big feet, while others have moderate height and foot size. It is what it is. I mean, to be totally blunt, men by and large are considered the disposable gender. And it hurts that other men are really competitive. I am just not a very competitive person. And people try to tell me that's a bad thing. OFC, sometimes I am a little competitive, who isn't? But overall I am a pretty laid-back guy, and a lot of dudes just can't go 30 minutes without a pissing contest, and I just don't care. I was raised to be an emotional and empathetic person. I like those aspects about myself. But I feel like people don't like emotional and empathetic men as a general rule, or look down on them. I don't want to stop being emotional and empathetic, but I feel like it just makes me look like a loser to others, and I don't know what to do about that. Trying to befriend other males who don't know how to carry on a conversation. Dude, I can't interview you all night. Ask me something about me and then follow up my response with a question. And don't always talk about work, for fuck's sake. The loneliness. It's crazy to see trans people FTM completely lose their mind about how people treat them now. No one trusts you around kids. You can't just go to a playground as a single man and watch kids play because you think they're interesting to watch. And good luck getting work as a babysitter or in any sort of childcare. Even just being something like a kindergarten teacher would be an uphill battle. Being asked to open up about negative aspects of your life, just to then be reminded that it's all your fault. Like the sole purpose of this thread. Fuck off. Much higher chance to be lonely. Just because you're a big guy, PPL expect you to carry heavy shit when you're not busy. A big one for me is kids. I'm a tall and muscular guy, and people see me in public with my nieces or little cousin and even my own kid, and I get the worst looks. I had a lady walk up to me and ask, "Are you their babysitter?" Or, the amount of verbal restraint I demonstrated should have landed me an award. I'd never say this to someone. But no, bitch. I'm their adult male family member guardian. They look at me like I'm a kidnapper for walking the kids to the damn park unamused. People don't care about your feelings or mental health. Specifically, being a middle-aged white male. Highest rates of suicide. Watch out for your friends, folks. Loneliness. The gender equality conversation never acknowledges the manual labor that is 90-95 male-dominated. With respect to women's rights and workplace equity, the conversation is extremely selective to the detriment of men. Getting scapegoating for everything. The onus is still very much on the man to initiate courtship. Which is why socially anxious dudes like me will never marry. The fact that too many people deny misandry exists. You're defaulted as a sexual predator. You're considered worthless if your income's low. Society has no empathy for your suffering. Short answer. No one cares about you. Longer answer. No one really cares about you. You sweat and smell quickly. No one likes us. Your way of expressing yourself through clothing fashion are way more limited. There is a pressure to conform to a male standard. Both women and men uphold this. This system doesn't teach men to develop support networks where they can be vulnerable. It mostly leads to support networks of men who support each other in silence through a mutual activity. A man is expected to be the one moving things forward. If not, they are a loser. More likely to have to pay for things. More likely to get kicked out of the house or charged rent by your parents at 18 to be a man. My university had notably less scholarships and bursaries for male students in humanities than for females, despite having about 10 higher female enrollment in those programs. Lower availability of mental support or emergency services for males being domestically abused. It's certainly not that men get the short end stick on everything. We don't. But some people have drank so deeply from male privilege talk they've forgotten that men, just like women, have their struggles too. Peeing with a boner. How much time do you have? Haha. Mainly dating emo, unless you're insanely good looking. For me, the body hair. Women both emasculate you then expect you to be masculine.